Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. It's a wonderful Monday morning here in Moscow. It's cold, it's rainy, but it's pretty nice. I think in Dubai right now it's pretty hot. So the choice is, do you want to be in a cold and windy place or a very, very hot place? Right. I think the cold and windy is a little, for now it's okay. It gets more colder, I'll want to go back to Dubai. So thank you guys for your patience. I was off since Wednesday. I think Wednesday was my last thing. My son operation went very well. He's doing good. So thank you for your support for that to everyone. Um, let's go. Let's start. To my YouTube viewers, if this video gets on YouTube, I hope you're doing well. I know a lot of you have been missing some of the videos I've been posting, but like I said, once everything gets settled, we will be in good thing to do a 1 week free. It's a promise that keeps moving backwards because things keep happening, like my son operation, and then we don't know what's going to happen next. But I'll do it. I might even make it 2 weeks for you guys. So with that said, let's go. Let's start. This is the euro. Let's start with the dollar index. I haven't been in the charts for a couple of days. I was off since Wednesday. So there's a lot of things in this chart that is not normal, which means shouldn't even be here. I haven't updated them for a couple of days. So we're going to look at it. Let me go to the 1 hour. And dollar index, I think we're still in a consolidation. We were expecting consolidation like this and one more drop. It seems like we're getting that. Here's a question. Can this actually go higher? Can it still, right? We're still in the same place we were last week. Nothing much changed. So for the entire week, all we did was consolidated here. So nothing changed. And this, as of now, if you're looking at it, just visually, if you're looking at it, you can see that it looks more like these consolidations, right? Now, here's the question. Is it an impulse and a consolidation for upside? Or is it just a consolidation for downside? And what you would look for is, where is the impulse? There is an impulse here. It's not as sharp as this one. You can see that. But sometimes you do get impulses like that that end up being correction in this phase, and then it takes off because we are also expecting that possibility. We can either look at this as all the correction, we can look at this as all the correction, or that is partial correction. So for now, what we're going to do, we're going to make the assumption that this is correcting upwards until proven otherwise, until it proves that it's actually taking off. So we will be looking for buy setups. Every time we break the top, we will look for sell setups. Those are short-term trades within the range. I think we did that last week and it worked very well. The entire 3 days that I was there, you allow it to, you trade it to break the top, and if it's going to take off, that will be an amazing trade. It will take off. If it just breaks the top, stop and consolidate, you buy again. If it breaks the top, reverse, take the sell. Right? So because this is not a clear direction as to where it's going right now, we will treat it as a consolidation. It's not pulling back to the bottom as yet. You can see that there's no pullback to the bottom. This is the deepest pullback. This is the next pullback. This one is relatively sharp. And when you see a sharp impulse like this in the consolidation, you're thinking, well, it's not 1, 2, 3, because then we will be dropping, right? Which means that there is a 1, 2, 3 happening in here. This is a consolidation. This one could still consolidate. I wouldn't be surprised if you get something like that that comes here, go back to the top, right? Make this a 1, 2, 3, come back here and then go away. So this could end up being a bigger consolidation. And for all you know, the entire week this week, we will still be in this consolidation. So what we look for here is, after an impulse like this, does it consolidate and go upwards? If it do, you buy it. Now, the next thing is, I'm not sure if this is correct, right? This could be something like that, because when you see it looking like this, most times it's not correct. Most time this is not valid. It's not there. We'll have to check on another one. You guys can check and tell me. If this is not there, then amazing. We've got this correction. We've got this correction. And that means that this could be a flag for upside. So as of today, this morning, we're still in consolidation. If we have to take a trade, it will be a buy. I'll be looking for a buy setup. We will only change that if this comes deeper into this one. I think this wick is normal. So if it comes into here, go back up there, then we would look at this as a flat within this move. In that case, we'll get one more down. You might not even get a buy in this, depending on how it comes down. It could be quick, it could be slow. You might not get a good buy in it, but then you could get a trade back to the top. Now, if all of this is confusing to you, the best thing is wait until it totally break out of that consolidation, either to the upside or the downside, then wait for a flag and then buy or sell. Right? Because right now, this consolidation zone doesn't necessarily have to be simple. It could be a really complex pattern. And unless you can identify each pattern in any given time frame, it will be difficult for you. The lower you go, the faster you have to get out. Right? I've done this like a million times explaining it. So if you want to trade in the higher time frame, which is in the safest trade, let it make all that consolidation, break, I'll wait for a flag and then go. What that means is you'll just follow this up every time it breaks the top, come back here, make a flag, you sell. You'll wait for it to break the low. If you want to sell, break the low, make a flag and then sell. If you're thinking about buying, it has to pull back to the low, go up, make a flag, which means you could consider this buy. And if it comes lower, you take it off. So as of now, it's a buy setup, but if it goes any way lower, we'll take off the trade. I think this sell was a good one. We didn't assume it's going to break the low. I think you remember that if you consolidate in that, you're thinking running flat. So if you took the trade, and I remember saying if you take the trade, mostly to practice whether you can get out. I don't think you had a problem. I'm on the 1 hour. So I don't think anybody had a problem getting out of that trade there or getting out of the trade here. As a matter of fact, not only getting out of that trade, but considering this move up and buying it here. That would have been a good buy there. I wasn't there, but I don't know if any one of you took this trade, right? Because we're taking this to be 1, 2, 3. Go back for this. You would expect this to happen, and then you would expect it to come down. That would have been how you would have looked at a pattern at that time. So this buy here would have made sense, right? If you close the sell, and the sell is because we thought it could make a running flat. We didn't know how big the running flat was going to be, right? So if you sold that within this pattern, you were always expecting this. So you close this trade and you go for this one. I'm not sure whether this would have been a good one, but even if you took it, you would have closed it. I'm on the 1 hour. You had 6 hours there to close the trade. But the first one was a very good one because you're assuming that you're going to get an impulse that will be the equivalent of this. That should have been your assumption that you're going back for this one. Well, it already went there and it seems to be going up some more. The question is, can we buy it? I'm not sure if we broke the low. We did tip the low here. So unless we got a contracting flat in here for this to be the move to the upside, then this buy is not really good, right? Because it can just stop there and turn. We're still expecting downside. Now that it's already broken out, there is no buy setup for us. The buy setup is gone. If you were buying this morning, you would buy somewhere on the breakout of this, you'd probably buy here. That's the last impulse. And it's not even an impulse. This was more of a pullback. You could buy it there. That if you want to buy it, right? That would be short-term buy. Because at this point, if this is the low and there's a contracting flat in here, right? If there's a contracting flat in there, this is the low. Then the next question is, are we doing this? So you would go for that one. This is really sharp. So I wouldn't be looking at that as a running flat. I'll take these as separate corrections. Come back to the 4 hour. Right, I'll take these because this one is really sharp. So I'll take these as separate correction. There's no big correction in the middle here. So the next thing you'll probably look for is it doing this. Remember, we were looking at this pattern. We had this one first. And then we said, well, what if it's possible that it's this one? That would have been the end of the correction for upside. Once it didn't break out, you reconsider and you decide, well, could it be this? And this came down beyond the low, so that qualifies for that. If that's the case, then one of these has to go out of the structure. If it stays in this structure, then we'll consider this one and downside again, which means this is just coming back here as a correction. This whole thing is very corrective when it's coming down like this, right? It's not dropping. These are impulses. It should have dropped already. So we are kind of correcting downwards for the up move. So buys are not a bad idea. If you're buying here, it's not a bad idea, but not this one. Like I said, this is gone already. You don't want to buy that. And I'm not sure that this is not making another flat here for one more down, right? Because this could most likely be the corrective part and not the end of the move here. So what you're going to do is you're going to be very cautious if you're trying to buy this. What we can do, though, is now that we've broken that top, if it reverses and make a flag, we sell it. Regardless of what you're likely going to have break even if it doesn't go. Because if it doesn't go, what it's going to do when you pull back, this impulse is reversed. It's going to make either a bigger correction here for upside, because this would be the first impulse, or it's dropping and that is the last impulse and it's expanding flat. So if it's an expanding flat, you're on the right side. You get the trade. If it's not an expanding flat, then it's a bigger correction. You get to exit the trade for positive because this correction would take a very long time. So which is it? The sell would be a good idea. So I'll take this off and well, you can go both sides here. Now if you're gonna buy it, you want it to go above this and make another flag. Consider that a buy. Any flag above that is a buy. But that's like 6 hours from now. So the best thing is it's easier to get the sell. Gold, yep, the upside in gold was there. I was just thinking this one. We were thinking it's gonna come down here and just do this one. Like 1, 2, 3. If you put it here, you'd get this. Right? This one was coming down. It actually came down. I think you could put it as part of the correction like that. So you'd be looking for one more up. This is really sharp. And we never broke the low. So is it enough to make it a running contracting flat? You could make an argument for a contracting flat. This would have been a buy. If you buy that, you'll probably buy it still within the correction, which makes sense. Can it be that this is 1, 2, 3, and we come back here? This one has a correction here, but it's not as big as this. This is huge. So if that happens, we're in a very, very complex correction, right? If that stays there, right? If it comes back here, I don't think this would be the equivalent of this. It means we're going to come here, come back here, and then go. This becomes the bigger correction. So as of now, we're still open to what this is. A channel or a running flat. I think right now it's more of a channel for downside. Okay, the corrections are here, the corrections are here, even this is correcting. So it's more like a channel. Should it go break the top? Should it go break the top? We'll just change this line to this one, and we'll be looking for ending structure. So in the 1 hour, we're within this correction. This is not taking off. It's a buy. You could have actually bought it, assuming that it's a contracting flat. You could have made that assumption it's a contracting flat. Maybe not here, maybe above this, or any flag in this one. This could have been a buy here, because you'd assume it's coming back to this top, right? This is very sharp. So if we use it with this, it has to be a contracting flat. If not, then it becomes the first possible flat here. Come here, come back down, go back up, come back down, and then go. Just making a more complex pattern. So the buy is still a good idea. I still think we can look for buys. If you're not in the trade, still look for buys. It's getting some divergence here, which the only thing that means is that this could come back and make a deeper correction, something bigger like this and go. I don't think we're reversing as yet. But since we're still in the correction, since we're still in this, right? Any time it gets to the top here in reverse, if you get a sell, take it. Right? If it comes to a sell, we're in the correction. There is no trade at the moment. I don't think buying it there makes sense, especially when you're channeling like this and you have divergence. Either wait for a bigger correction to the upside, wait for a bigger correction like this to the upside, or look for downside, an impulse like this. Right? Remember when this started to channel, the same thing we had, we were expecting it to drop. It even broke out of the top there and then came down. So can this break out, do the same thing and then drop? Look for that possibility. If it breaks out of that channel, make a correction, we'll buy. So there's no trade set up here at the moment. Euro, you can buy this. It did go up. This one did happen. That was since Wednesday. It actually went higher. So your trade would either be here or here. And you're looking for this move down. I think this happened during a news event, so you probably should have taken profit here. The sharpness tell me it's probably a news event. I'm not sure. I wasn't there. So that would have been your trade. Take this off. We can take this off. We don't need it anymore. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Is that enough for upside? Right? You've got 1, 2, 3. Is that enough for this to go up some more? Not necessary. It could be because this is relatively sharp. It's not, this one never went back to the top, right? When you're making corrections, when you're making like corrective structure, the corrections, the B part, and they tend to come back to the top. This one is a small one here. So even if this is gonna go, you have to be careful that it might not go very far. It could just do this and then consolidate here and drop. And this becomes the first part of it. So do we have a pattern for downside? We just have to go back to the bigger time frame. Yeah, why not? We do. right? This one came up. See, this one came back to the low. This went up. This came back pretty low. Not way back to the low, but that. So I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back and drop here, right? This could just be a 1, 2, 3 in this one. I think it will be part of that. This would be the bigger correction somewhere here. Can it come down back sharp and still go back up? Can this actually come back relatively sharp like this and then go back up? That would be okay. We'll put it as a running flat. Sorry, guys. So in that case, I think let's see if we have a good buy setup here. You can make an argument for that. This could have been a chance. When you get two of these, you actually start being careful. Right? When you get one, it doesn't go. You get a second one, it's not going. Just be careful with this. Let it come back here and then look for a buy. Right? Because now you have this, this one is sharp, this one is relatively sharp. So one of the two things, either we're making a running flat or a channel. It's more of a running flat than a channel. Right? It's breaking the tops with, it's more of a running flat than a channel. So let it come back to the bottom of the running flat and then look for a buy setup. If you're already in the buy from here, you just have to make sure you get break even out of the trade. Right? Let's see if they consolidate here, and then we'll go for one more up. At least one more up, and then we'll see what it's doing. Right? Because like I said, this one is relatively sharp. So I wouldn't go with any buy there, and there is no sell setup on it. At least not as yet. If it wants to drop, at some point it has to come back here, go break the top, and then start dropping. If we'll be looking for a sell, we'd look for something like this. Break the top, reverse, make a flag, and then go for the sell. So right now it's more of a buy setup, but no trade. Pound. Pound went up. It did come down. We were expecting to go break the top. That is to break the top. It break the top. It came down. It barely tagged the low. So if you were selling, but I think you had, I don't know if there was a news that dropped it, but you had a lot of chance to get out here. It didn't like reverse and take off. So let's take out this. This is useless. Like I said, those were on Wednesday. And we had a lot of time after that. So where we are now. Okay, we kind of came. So we have to decide where to put this. Either this flat, either that flat there, or if this, or if we're gonna go with this one. Right, one out of those two. I think this one looks good. We can go back to this one in here, and this looks good for downside. So if it is going down from here, you want to pull back and you want to flag. Right, so those were the two running flats we were looking at on last week, I remember, because a lot of sharp pieces upwards here. If this is dropping, here's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna take this off. You don't want to bias ourselves. Because we're coming from a low point, right? If you go into 4 hours, this one is correcting downwards, and we are making an assumption it could do one of the two things. Right? We're making an assumption it could do this. That's the first arrow. It could do that and go back up and then come here. Or it could totally come here. Right? Which means the equivalent of this one. So this sell were good. We were looking for sells, and if you were looking for any buy, it would have been short term. I don't know if you'd get any buy, but short term. What you want to exclude here is the possibility of a running flat. Right? You want to exclude this possibility to get one more up. If this is the low and this flat belongs to that one there, then this could totally go up. Can it go up with the structure we have? Absolutely. It could be this is all they do and they make a new high. Come make it. This is very corrective. It's not as impulsive as you would like. It's either a slow correction, a slow impulse, or correction. So let's get the sell set up, which is what we want. But we also want to exclude the possibility of being tagged in a running flat and then go. So if you're going to sell, if you get a flag here to sell, if it makes a flag here and we sell it, we have to make sure that once it does this, you get that to break even. The best thing would be let it drop here first. And if it dropped there, what we can do is put an entry order above the top. Right? You put an entry order above the top. If it comes here and make a consolidation, take off that entry order, buy this one to go. Because if you're channeling at the top there, when you buy this, it will come to the top and then reverse. If it's not doing this, then it will just take off. So you can put your entry order at the top. Let me just put an arrow so we can see what we want. This is you want. You want to see it come back like this. Right? That's not a very big move. That's about, how much pips? That's about 4 to 6 pips, right? So what you want to do is you want to see if it can drop like this very fast. If it does drop very fast, then you don't worry about it. You wait for it to come, and then you put an entry here, but you wait for an impulse and a flag to buy. If we want to sell this for the 6 pip, you have to go down lower to the 15. You see, this one didn't have very much flag, and the consolidation is here. There's no flag in there. There's small running flats to trade. So what you want to do is you want it to make a flag here. And then take this flag to come to this level and get it to positive. Because if it's a running flat for upside, because of this, the likelihood is going to do that really fast. So worst case is you'll get break even. If it starts to consolidate here, you can close this trade and put another entry order for the drop. If it reverses and make a flag here, you close this trade and you take this flag to the upside rather than the entry order above the top. See? So if it stays here, it's a sell. That's a very short-term sell with the intention that, well, it could be long-term. If I'm wrong about that being a running flat, you want to exclude that possibility. What if it drops through the bottom and this was all the consolidation? Could be. Could make an argument for that. Probably this one would go with some kind of an expand. I don't see any expanding flat there, but that's the closest you could come to it. Or it's a correction of its own. But most likely you're making a running flat for one more because this consolidation here is the clear factor for the running flat. So we're going to work with that. Upside, look for short-term buy, sell, and then decide if we go for the buy. That is if it makes a flag here. Aussie? It's actually going up. This is the kind of running flat we're talking about with this flag in here and then come back to this. This is a perfect running flat. Anybody who bought this did excellent. Right? That's a good trade. Well, it doesn't matter how far it go, but that definitely, because your assumption would be that it's going like this. That should be your assumption, that it's going to do that with that running flat at the top there. It didn't do that. It's actually here. There's a buy setup here. You can take that trade. It could be short term, which means it could just stay here for a while and make a bigger consolidation, then go. Are we expecting the upside? I think we had a contracting flat in the middle here. If we go back up from here, that would be two contracting flats. Not a good idea. But it's going up, so we'll see. I was expecting them to break this low before they turn, like we were expecting this to break that top before it turns. Could be there. This one is lower than this, so there is no triangular pattern forming. If there was a triangular pattern, it would have to stop here and go back up. But because it's lower than this, if you take this out and you put a line here, see, it's lower. So can we look at this as 1, 2, 3? The only part about that is this having the biggest flat inside. That's the only downside to that one. Right? This has a nice one for the B wave. You can go with that. This is very sharp. This is the problem. So we'll have to just wait and see how this play out and where it goes, and then we'll decide. I hope they do come break the low, which means this stops somewhere here and start coming down. Maybe make a running flat here and drop, or a flat and drop, one out of these two. Let's see if that's going to happen. Do we have a buy setup? So let's go look at the top of it, see if we're going to buy it. What if it's going up as a contracting flat? We'll take the buy. So I'll take this off. I know this was a buy when I left on Wednesday. Do we have a buy setup here? I would probably put this as a running flat because this is very sharp and you have two corrections in it. This is relatively sharp, so running flat here makes sense. If not, put it as a channel. If it's not a running flat, then it's a channel. And if it's a channel, could it be some kind of a squeezing one, like an ending diagonal on the top of this? I don't see that. You'll need a flat here for the ending diagonal. So it's more of a channel or a running flat. Can we buy this? Well, you can buy it to break the top. How much pips we have to break the top? You have 16 pips to break the top. So the question is, do you want that trade? Because if you're taking this trade, you're only taking it to go break the top. All right, let's say this was all the consolidation to the low here. You can make an argument for a contracting flat in there, right? Because if it was a running flat with this, then this sell would have gone down, not go back up. So now that this is broken the top, if you had a trade here, you have to take that trade out. By rule, you have to take that trade out and put an entry higher. This is your exit strategy, right? So you'd have to take that out and put it higher. Probably put it like a couple pips, I don't know, 4 or 5 pips higher. That gives you less. It's 689, so put it at 92. And once it gets to this, once it breaks that up, you have to get it to break even, right? Because that could be the reversal point if you're in a channel. So if you pull it as a channel like this, you have to take the last two. Remember the rule. Once it gets to about here, you have to get it to break even. If it breaks straight through, good for you. What if it tags you and stay there for a while? You know the rule, just like the first one. If the first one tagged you, you close it. So this is an actual buy. You know how to manage it. We'll be back here to check how to manage that, right? New Zealand, that was the buy, but I think clearly, you got out of that. That was since Wednesday. Let me take this off. It actually came down, went up. And New Zealand, I think, tagged the low. Unlike the Aussie, the New Zealand tagged the low, right? New Zealand tagged this low, not this low. We're expecting it to break this one. By the way, that's the one I think I removed. Right? It didn't break down. Now this is coming back. This could be a normal flat in here. If this comes back here, we could go with this as a flat and one down, right? Because we also had this flat in this one, right? So we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, the bigger flat, 1, 2, 3, and then go back up for that. Makes sense. I don't think this one is going back there. I think that's out of the question, right? There's nowhere we think that one is going back because there's no point of it going from here. If this goes back anywhere, this is still consolidation within this being the impulse. So there's rarely the chance of it going, but it could come back to this level, right? We haven't seen patterns like that. That's what I'm saying. Is that this one could come back here and then come down. So let's see if we can get that trade. Go back to the 1 hour. And I think we have a similar structure like we have on the Aussie. We can even make an argument as to whether we want to put this here as a running flat or two separate flats. You could use this one or you could use this one. It wouldn't really matter, depending on how you look at the internal one, if this as an expanding flat in the middle, or whether you look at it like this. I don't think it makes a difference which one. So there's a good buy setup here, especially if you consider that the impulses are looking alike. Then this impulse could do the same thing. So we did tag this low and we are expecting it to come back at least to this stop. So there's a trade to go there. You're getting a flag here, a nice 1 hour flag. Let's see in the 15 minutes what it looks like. Looks like a good flag to me. You can put an entry order above the flag. And once it break that top, get it to positive. So this is an entry order here. That's a good trade. Put an entry order here. Again, if it tags, you pull back. When it go back up, you'll have to close depending on how many hours is there and re-enter. But I think this makes a good flag here. You don't need to do anything. This looks like a really nice flag for upside. And structurally, this one is moving up better than the Aussie. If you put these as separate corrections, also no problem. You can make an argument for that. Got it? Still downside. I'll take off this one. That's an old sell. We can take off this one. That's a buy we didn't take. I don't know. Some of you might have taken this during the news. And we are getting a sell set up here. I think we're getting a sell set up. I'm not liking that. And I'll probably put it like this for now, but this is really sharp, so not a good idea either. So if you go with 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, then there's a chance it has to go back up one more. If you're not taking this one into consideration, you have to take this as the first one, this is the second, which means it still has to go back up one more. Doesn't matter how you look at this one, right? There's a chance that it has to go back up one. If we go with, this is too sharp to be the consolidation. So you have to go with something like 1, 2, 3 and go back up there. Can we put that as the flat? Then this consolidation here is not making sense. So we're only looking for a sell, but I don't like this particular sell setup. Should it go back to the top? Should it do this and come back here? Then we look for the sell setup. So it's a sell setup, or let it break through this structure, not just break the low because they're breaking the low and reversing, right? Let it break through and then consolidate here and then sell. There's a big move to the downside, right? We were expecting this to go down really big. And this could stay here for a long time, right? That's a big move. This could end up going back a lot to the upside. But we don't have any buy setup as it stands right now. We're looking for sell setups. And if we're selling on the 1 hour to 15 minutes, I don't like this sell setup. Let's wait. I think we had a few sells on this, but this is not one of them. So wait for that. Leave it as looking for a sell setup. Swiss, are we looking for a sell setup here? If this was a buy, it has to be some news because that was very sharp. So I'm not sure why it's sailing in the middle there unless there was a news. Actually, this could have been a good buy somewhere here. That's the 1 hour. What do 15 minutes look like? At a 15 would have made that a good buy. This correction here could have been a good buy. It's actually correcting here, pretty flat. We already broke the top, so there's no point buying it. Right? Every time they break the top, they tend to pull back. This one broke the top, it pulled back. This broke the top, it pulled back. This broke the top. This was sharp, some news event. It pulled back deep. They make a sharp one. They broke the top. They pull back. You just broke the top. Wait for a pullback and then buy. Where is this going? Let's see. Yep, we're thinking a flat here, right? One, two, three. I think that's what we're looking at for now, and then coming back to this stuff. We haven't broken the low. I'm not sure they would go break the low. They can, especially now that it's not moving so fast. And we haven't got any of these sideways, bigger sideways move. So you're getting some small ones, but no big ones. What's the buy? So what is trade setup here? Now we don't have any trade setup. But now that we've broken that top, if you get a flag, we can sell. So what you want it to do is you want it to drop like this, reverse the last impulse, make a flag here, and then sell it to break this low. If that happens, because this is going up really slow. Should this drop? Should it do this? Right? Should it come down here? And let's say you even get a sell here, but you know this is coming down like this, go with a possible running flat here, and then we'll buy this. We'll see this by this afternoon. Right? If it's doing that, if you get into the sell and it's doing this, you'll see it by this afternoon. We'll have enough time to close it because there's a lot of hours. You see how much hours this thing stayed here? That's a consolidation. Can we buy it now if it's going up higher? You don't have a buy. You don't have a trade set up for the buy. So we'll just wait. Take this off. Yeah, and the bigger picture is downside. This was a buy. You could probably got a buy here. That would be a break-even trade, and you can still get a buy. It still could give you one more buy setup. Right? Take this out as the first impulse up, and you want this to come back down. Now, I think you guys could have traded in this range. We spoke about trading in the range, 200 or something pips. This could come back here and then go back there. Maybe even come back here and then go if you're thinking of a flat. Now, let's go see what the trade setup would be in the 15. We haven't broken this stop and this up move, which means we're still in the correction. And if you're going to go out of this correction, you would likely come back to retest this low. Right? This would have to come back here, retest the low. And if this becomes the bigger correction, then the chances are this is a 1, 2, 3, which means you go back as a 1, 2, 3, come back here for this one, 1, 2, 3, and then go back up. Because we didn't break this top, right? We didn't break the top there. If this had broken the top, this would be the top. So I think that's just a deeper correction. Look for sell setups. I think the range here is big enough for you to look for a sell setup within the range. Yeah, that's 257 pips. That's a good range to trade in. Look for a sell setup somewhere from the top here going down. Euros. We're expecting this to go much lower. I think this is starting to become a reversal to come even retest this low. It's coming down really sharp. So at some point it will make deeper correction, but it's going good so far. Let's see in the 1 hour and the 15. That was a good sell. I think the next best sell you would have got would have been this one. That should have been a sell. Absolutely. Remember we said you're looking for sell setups here. These sharp pullback would eventually be running flats or something like that. And, we look at them. Or you can put this one here. and expect this to be a separate one. So every sell setup you get in here, you can take. Yeah, you don't have any sell. You could make an argument for this sell. You could make an argument for that, but you have to be careful when you come here. And because this has so much consolidation, let this come here and then go back up. If it does that, this becomes a really good trade to the downside. And I wouldn't attempt to buy that, but I'll definitely go for the sell. So let's see if we get a flat here, and then we'll go for a sell, because this is not the equivalent of this one for any running flat there. We can look for a sell setup, but we have to wait. This is not the ideal one. Let's see if it consolidates here, then we look for a sell. I think this was the one we were looking for a buy for because we wanted a sharp move up. That was here, sorry. That's an old one. Take that out. That didn't happen. It came lower. You got a running flat. Could make an argument here for a running flat. You couldn't, I think there was another flat in here with this one, with that piece. If you want, you could also put this as a running flat here. That means we're going to get another running flat. We're going to get another running flat here if we look at it that way. Either with this or with this second one. Because there are a number of flats that form there. You could put this, and I think there was a flat inside here as well. You could make an argument for this being a running flat. I think that's a good one. But there's a lot of consolidation here and a lot of consolidation here, which means this sell is a perfect one. This sell here would be a perfect one. If you missed it, it's already gone. If you missed that sell, wait for a flag. This would make a flag, and then you sell it to break through the low and then go. So if you get a flag here, if you sold this, the stop has to be here, right? If you're selling this one, it has to make a flag, and then you sell this flag with a stop here for the next drop. So if you miss it, you just wait for a flag. This is downside. What's the big picture? I think we broke the top, so we broke that top, so we'll see how low they go, if they're totally reversing or they're just making a running flat. It could make a running flat because this one was very sharp in here. Pound New Zealand as well, right? Good job. Well done, Ivan. Good job you guys are doing there. Like I said, I'm always happy when you guys are doing in the trading room because trades are being taken. Good job. Good job. Excellent. And Pound New Zealand. Let me take a look at that too. So make sure everybody good. Excellent. You got this too. This one is perfect. Watch it when it comes to the bottom here because of this one I think in here is relatively sharp. So take that out. That was a correction we were expecting before it dropped, but I think we got the correction. Take that out as well. I think this one is relatively sharp. So nice, wonderful trade. Perfect. Can't ask for anything better than that. Watch it when it comes here. You want to exclude this possibility, right? But hopefully did it drop for you guys. If it just go, that would be excellent because I think these two would fit here. So this one could be this, but let's see if it drops through the bottom. That would be perfect. Good job. And that is why you guys should join the trading room more often, all of you, right? Because remember, that's where the money is made all the time. So I'll leave this as an active sell since you're in it, and we can put the Euro New Zealand as an active sell as well too, since you're in that trade. That's a Euro CAD. Okay, this should come down, but we couldn't get a trade properly. I remember when we were looking at it, we were thinking this running flat. I would go with this one. I'll go with that running flat. I didn't like this one. We were expecting it to go a little higher. This could have been a sell, but yeah, this would have been a difficult sell because of that pullback. We're waiting for a sell here, but I don't think you want to take this here. This is not a good idea. This thing is, let's see, let them finish this. Here's what I would like to see. I would like to see this one come back here and then go back up. I want to see this as a flat and then let it go back up like that. And then above this stop, we'll take any sell we get. That would be the perfect sell setup. So let's just leave this and wait for a sell setup. Euro Swiss was a buy. We wanted this to happen before you buy, but then you got this. Which makes sense. I'll go with that. If it didn't come down and go, that would be your buy setup. If you're buying this one above the last impulse was a good idea. Right? If you're buying above the last impulse, that would make sense. Let's see. What's the bigger picture? The bigger picture is buy. All the Swiss pairs that broke the low, right? Remember that one. All the Swiss pairs that just buy anywhere that you get a buy setup. So this one would absolutely be a buy. I'm not sure if any one of you bought this inside here. If you did that, excellent. Let's see if there's a good buy setup there. Oh, there was. This here would have been a good buy setup. Your first thought process would be this one, let it come back to the low here. That should have been your first thought process when it comes to the low. When it went up back like this, you can look at this two sharp one. And I think if you put an entry order here, or if you take this trade, that's good. Right? Because you're thinking 1, 2, 3, come back to this stop. That would be my thought process. 1, 2, 3, go back to that top. If it's coming down here, then we'll go with that running flat and continue. But if this is part of this, right? If this is part of that, then this just go. Because sometimes you see that kind of expanding flat there. So this trade is a good one. If you're not in the trade, what you want it to do is right here, you want it to consolidate more. If it makes a consolidation, buy. So we're still looking for a buy setup, but you need a consolidation there. All the Swiss pairs, right? Remember, some of them broke the low, some of them didn't. I think the New Zealand Swiss broke, the Euro Swiss broke. Those are the ones we're focused on. The rest of them, you'll see the ones that broke already. You'll focus on those as well. Euro Pound. I think we're making a huge flat here. Yeah, kind of a huge flat. Look for a buy setup. You already got the flat. Right? Expect a buy setup here. Let it come. You want to exclude this one, right? So you want it to go up there. You want it to make a flag and then take that flag. Right? Just to exclude the possibility of it making a running flat at the bottom there. So you want to exclude this as a running flat. So this has to go a little more and make a flag. If it drop one more, wait for it to drop, reverse, make a flag and go. We're not looking for this sell. Remember, it came back. This is above this stop. So if we were thinking running, expanding flat, then that wouldn't help. Right? I don't think selling this makes sense now. Because this very much looks like an expanding flat. You can just tag the low and then go back up. If we're going to sell, we're going to sell much lower. One second, guys. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Yes, let's go. So Europong, I think we look for the buy setup for now. Let's go to the buy setup. Euro yen. I'll take this off. We're getting this. That means we're getting a deeper upside. Let's see where the upside is. They have to correct this entire thing. So deeper upside is not a problem, but I don't think this will go. So within that range, we might still get sell set up. I don't think this is ready for this is starting the bigger consolidation within the possible flat. So we have the same thing we have on the dollar yen. This one when it didn't break the top, it came to the top, but it didn't break it. This didn't break the low. So I wouldn't be surprised if this somehow comes back here before they go. It could stay here longer, right? The lower it comes into this, the more we look for a big flat. The bigger picture is downside. You're just consolidating here, and this will take a long time. So because the range is huge, you can trade it both ways. You just have to be very good at, where you're taking the trade and how you're taking it. So what you want to do is every time it breaks the low, look for a buy. Every time it comes back to the top, look for a sell within the sideways, unless it break the low. Right? When it break the low, then you buy and you're expecting it to break out. So you can trade within this range. I think this is the 200 pip range. Yeah, 250 pips. You just have to go to the 15 minutes and look for that sell. Right now, you'd be looking for a sell. So there were buy setups here as well that you could have got. I think this would have been the first. If you were buying this one, you'd either consider this one or this one as a buy setup. Should it break out? Should one of these break out, right? Should one of these break out to go to it? Now you let it come here and you look for the sell setup back. It might not even go more. This is where you can start to look for the sell setup back to the bottom. If this goes and break the top, if it consolidates here, if it just crawls its way to the top there and break this top, assume that this is the correction in a 1, 2, 3, come back down for this. Right? Because I don't think this is enough correction to go. So you're looking for short-term sales back to this low. I'm going to put a line here to where you're looking for the sales to come back to retest this low, assuming this is the first impulse in a bigger flat here. So this was a correction, this was a correction, this is a bigger correction. The entire picture is downside, but that's going to be like 3 weeks from now because you're making a weekly correction here or daily correction here. If you're correcting this, this is a daily correction. There's no telling how high it can go, right? But it has to be a lot of consolidations. We've seen that before. So let's wait and see. You can look for trades downwards. Look for sell setups. Concat, we're going up, so we're going to make a flat here. I'm on the 1 hour, so we're looking for a running flat here and upside. Go to the 15 minutes, and I think we've got that. Yep. I think the pound CAD and the euro CAD has a very similar structure. You want it to come back here and then look for the buy. This is not making a flag. I think on the euro CAD, we were expecting a flag. No, euro CAD, just leave it. Let it come and go back up. So we had this pattern in one of the pairs, this very same pattern we have at the pound CAD here, right? I think it's a euro Swiss. Very similar. This is your impulse. Let it come back here and then look for the buy setup. So you're looking for a buy setup here. Pound yen. This one broke the top. Unlike most of the other yen pair, this one broke the top. So what you can do is you can assume that this is all the correction, right? And this is going to go break the top. It's already breaking that top. But as soon as they break the top, every time they break the top, as soon as break the top, it was going to make a pullback, even if it's make a small pullback for upside. So rather than buying it into the top, wait for it to pull back. Now, I think the best thing would be is if it actually does this and give you this flat. And then that buy becomes a good one. So you're looking for sell setups in most of the pair. This might also happen. I'm not sure whether this would give a good sell setup simply because we broke the top already. But I still think it's going to be more of like you're going down more. You're not going up yet. Take this out. You're consolidating. The bigger one would be the drop, but it's not really. So if it tags the top, wait first to see if it gives you sell setup. I'll leave that open. We don't have any trade there. Pause. Can we make an assumption that we already have the running flat? If you're in the sell in this one good, you can make that assumption that that's already a running flat. And this sell here would have been perfect. You'd have to put an entry. The closest you can get to the trade is putting an entry under the low here because I'm under 15, right? Under this low. The assumption would be that you're making 1, 2, 3, and this would be your sell. Now, we didn't go back to the top, so you can still leave it for this trade down because from here to here, you didn't get any flag. So that sell would have been a good one, especially since you saw this running flat here. Right? This was an easy one. If you look at the whole picture, that's the clearest running flat you get. This is a sharp move down. We broke the tops. Sharp move down. We're getting a running flat. This is going down. I think we have this pattern within this structure, right? Coming back here. So it's kind of a 1, 2, 3. We are coming back for this one. Right? We have that already here. So it's doing what we expected to. It's going much sharper. You could actually bring this a little more like that. Because I think it's going much sharper. Unless it start doing this. Right? This is the one you have here now. That's the equivalent of that one. So it can drop one single sharp move or it can start consolidating like this and then drop. So this sell here is a good idea. If it makes another flag, sell it. It's still a sell. You already have the big flat. So if it makes another flag, sell it. Pound New Zealand. I think you guys are already in this sale. Excellent. Like I said, watch it for this possibility. Let me just pull this here. You don't close the trade. You just monitor it for that possibility that it could go back up. It will have to start to consolidate here before you close because a little pullback in one candle doesn't mean anything. It can still drop. Pound Swiss, all the Swiss pairs are buys. So did this break the low? I think this one didn't break the low, but we were buying the correction. Yeah, this didn't break the low. We were thinking about corrections only here, right? Because we were expecting it to come and break this low. The ideal setup in this one is let it come back and break this low and then take off to the upside. That's a very sharp pullback. I think this could have been a buy. A buy here would have made sense. I definitely wouldn't buy anything at the top here. Let it pull back like this. And if you pull back like that, then we can consider this a buy. Right? But for now, there is no buy. You can look for sell setup. So this one didn't break the low. So if you get a sell setup, go for it. Most of the Swiss though would be buys. If I'm buying this, I need a really good flag here. Like a really super good flag, but this is not the ideal buy. So take this out for now. Let's see. Aussie Swiss didn't break the low. Let's see. Yep, we haven't. We don't need to break the low on this one, by the way. This could be buy because if we're looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, and I think that makes sense because this doesn't go with anything in the past. Absolutely nothing. I think we can put these here already. I don't think this one is going to go with that as a long running flat. So this could totally go back to the top there and then drop. So let's see if we're getting a buy setup. The buy setups say we need to break this low and we broke that low. So buy setups here are great. Yeah. And you had a few more beside this one. I would have taken this trade for a possible running flat. First, what I would have done is actually pull this up here and taken that to retest this top. Right? We would have taken it to retest because you notice they're breaking the tops, right? See, this one broke the top. I think there was a small one in here broke the top. So you would take this to go break that top, close the trade somewhere here. Now you want it to pull back. You want this to pull back here for this possible running flat and then go for an next buy. You can't trade it there where it is now. You definitely are waiting for a pullback or a bigger flag above here, kind of a flag. This was a really good trade though. Right now you have to wait for some kind of a consolidation pullback or so and then look for the buy. You're looking for a buy setup, you just don't have one right now. Aussie yen. Okay, this one broke the top too, if you're looking at it that way. This was the up move. This broke the top, so this either a consolidation of its own or part of a bigger consolidation that will happen here. So if you don't look at it that way, then if you look at this as a consolidation of its own, then this here is either a full consolidation or part of what is going to happen here. Part of a consolidation that could happen here. So any pullback here with a flag could bring you down back to the bottom here and then the upside. I think this one is not clear. The buy at the top there is a bad idea, but you're still correcting upwards. Should it give you sell setups, take it. Should it go above this and consolidate, then consider the short-term buy. So I'll take this off. Aussie CAD. I think we're going back to the top. Yeah, we'll pull it mostly like this. I think we'll probably go with this running flat. 1, 2, 3. And go right back to the top. What would be the bigger picture? Nothing much. You can take this out. This would be useless. I think all of this would be very corrective. Once this gets back to the top here, this becomes the bigger correction. So we'll be going back down. We're just going to be stuck here for a long time. I think you can already assume that this is the impulse. And this correction with this sharp move and this sharp move, but with this correction in here, if that happens, it has to come back here to complete this one. So we will be stuck with another up move, complete this as a flat, and this one will probably go with one of these. And then we still have to get that move done. I don't think this is taking off. It could be because we were thinking of it as taking off. We were thinking of this as the expanding flat, and this is taking off. And once we broke the low. That didn't happen. Can this be a big flat that takes off? Rare, but possible because this one didn't have any big flat in it. Look for buy setups. Let's go here, see if we have any buy setup. Nope, not at the moment. And this has a lot of sharp pullback. So you had this one, you got this one, you got this one. You got this one. You definitely don't want to buy anything at the top there because all it has to do is break there and come back here, and then we will go with this as the first running flat. We'll come back and put these as running flat here. So let it break the top. If it gives you reversal with a flag, you sell. If it consolidates above the top, we buy. This could have been a trade, but not the best one either because all these moves are just sharp. Aussie, New Zealand, sell setup. The sell was good. It came down. It didn't break the low. So remember, this was the first impulse in a possible flat. So when you were selling that, you weren't expecting this to drop. You were expecting it to come back to the low, which is what it did. And it's going back up. So we're going to consolidate in here for a while. Let it go back, break the top, and then look for sell again. Right? So don't trade it now. Take out all of these. These were sell setups. This was sell setup. Those are old ones. This was a sell. Take it off. And I don't know. That was some top. Take it off. I think this one was some. This was the top of that to also take it off. Big picture downside. No question here. The big picture is downside. I think this one is easy. You got this correction. You got that move up. I don't think this is an equivalent of this. Right? It's depending on how you look at it, but I don't think it's an equivalent of that. So I would say this is more of a three-wave structure where this was a sharp one. So this down move is the equivalent of this. Coming here back is the equivalent of this one. And then going back up for this. So it's not like we're going to drop totally, but that down move is possible coming back here. So we're correcting upwards for the down move. We're correcting this. And it's good because now you can see that you're making a flat here. Right? You've got the sharp move, you've got a correction here. It seems like this would be the bigger correction, which means we're going to be there for a while. Let it go back to this top and then look for sell setups. New Zealand Swiss. I think this broke the low here a long time ago. So any buy setup here, I couldn't have stressed this more. Any buy setup you get anywhere in this, take it. I think this was a buy. You could have taken this one. You could have taken that one. I am not sure about this because this one was lower, so I'm not sure about this. You could have actually bought this one here. Anybody in this buy? Anybody in the New Zealand says buy? This is one you don't second guess it. Okay, this is gonna go. All right, look for more buy setups. Any pullback. Once it pulls back like this, look for a buy setup. All right, we broke the weekly low a while ago, and then they broke it a second time. So after it went lower than I expect. When we took that one, we were expecting it to break this low only, and it went quite a lot. So now you're only thinking upside. This is the lowest it has ever been. Right? So see, every time they come low, what happens? They go back up. They go back up. They go back up. If this one didn't even break the low, this one is more of this correction. But they broke the low, they go back up. Now that you have 1, 2, 3, if we put these as correction, let's say we are putting this as all of these as part of it. Let's go with all of this as part of that in the future. Let's make it easier for all of us, right? So let's take this as 1, 2, 3. Then we have this move down, which would be the equivalent of this. Right? If we're not looking at it that way, then the worst case is it comes here and give you this one. And then go back down. Right? Like that's your worst case scenario. So to the top here, that's a really big move. If it's going to here and then come back down, what if it's actually taking off? And all of these are just corrections of their own. That's possible, right? Because the lowest point. So you're looking for buy setups. Any good buy setups you get to take the trade? Get it to positive. You're not going to have a lot of very, very deep corrections when they're moving. You see those moves, how fast they look on the monthly? Those are like 1 month, just small flags, 1 hour flags inside. That's why you don't see it. So any flag you get here, buy. New Zealand yen. This is a yen one. Okay, this one didn't break. This one, I think, broke the top. I'll take off the sell here. This was a sell. Put it here. Did we break the top? Nope. We kind of come close, but we didn't. I'll take off these sells. That was a sell. This was a sell. Take them off. So we didn't break the top, which means this would have to come back. It could tag the top here now, but it'd have to come back for this one. And this could give you a sell setup. That's a big range, right? So it could give you a sell setup. I think these are 100 pips, 200 pips range. That is also 206, 206, 250 to within that range. So this is your first impulse up. I'll put the two lines showing the first impulse down, which would be this. Right, that is it. I think this one, I'm not sure if it's this one. If this is invalid, if this is not a valid candle, then this would be it. Still a big range. Look for sell setups. Buying at the top there, it can go a little higher, but buying at the top there doesn't make sense. That's a useless buy. Right? You're trying to get it to come down. New Zealand cat, we never got this. We're still within the range. So at some point, we will have to have a sharp pullback before it goes. It's going up, but probably don't trade it as yet. Cat yen, like all the yen pairs, I think this one broke the top here. It kind of tag it, not necessarily break it, and we're still within this range. So you're looking for a sell setup in this to come back here. Go into 15, look for a sell setup there. It has already gone very far. I don't think you have to trade. Actually, just broke the top. That broke the top, but I don't think the consolidation is over. And because of all this consolidation inside of this. So most likely you'll be looking for a sell setup. Cat Swiss. Cat Swiss broke the low. I think we did. This is the low we wanted to break. I think that is it. Now you're thinking only upside, right? From here, you're thinking upside. So go back to the 1 hour and take any buy setup you get. So these were buy setups here. This was the last buy setup I remember on Thursday. On Wednesday, sorry, that was the last buy setup. This one you probably would have gone with, I would probably put this as a contracting flat there and look for a buy here. That would have been the best option. This is not a really good one. You'd probably be thinking about this as some kind of flat here, this one here. But this slow piece is not a good idea. So what you're going to do is you're going to wait for either a pullback like this. And then look for the buy setup here to go. Or if it comes consolidate here, then you buy. Yeah, you wait for a good sizable enough consolidation, then you go for the buy. So pullback or thing, can they pull back this much for a possible running flat? Let's say with this consolidation here, this is a 1, 2, 3. In that case, you might even get a sell setup here. If you take the sell, you have to take it caution, right? Because remember, this one is breaking the top. Mostly what you're looking for is buy. Rather wait for the pullback and then buy because we broke the low, the all-time low. So wait for a pullback and buy rather than getting into a sell that might not go very deep. Swiss yen, I think this is the strangest yen pair. This one, all of them are kind of at the top there. This one is way back at the bottom. This might be a triangular looking pattern there, something like that. And this is consolidating here. It probably could go lower even. So just let it go here and then up and then look for that trade. On the way up, you can look for this. Get a buy on it. I don't think we have any trade at the moment, but the bigger picture should be downside. Can we sell this to go down? If it comes back to the top. And if we assume that, well, you could make an argument that that is a flat, you could make an argument this is a correction, you could make an argument this is a correction, this one is sharp, so you want this to go back up one more, and then look for a sell. This could be a buy setup, and then look for a sell. Very short term. All these trades will be very short term. Right? If you think of this as making one more up and then drop, and that is just one more up to drop. So like just go there, tag the top and drop, something like this. And you're not looking for a really, really huge move up. You can take the buy and then go for the sell. Okay, this is correcting upwards. You can go for short-term trades in this. Let's see where it's going. It's more downside. Look for sells now. That correction is pretty huge. This was the last sell. Take it off. This one never broke. Take that off. Look for a sell setup from here. Actually put an entry order here to sell. Just under the low. right? You can wait for a better sell setup on the way down, but this is the impulse. So one more down at least is what we're looking for, right? We're looking for something the equivalent of this. Something the equivalent. This one went really sharp, right? There wasn't any deep pullback. So this pullback is pretty deep for the next drop. And then upside. So let's see. Go back to the 15. Try to get a sell set up now. The buys are over. And we have divergence in it, right? So that's a good sign for looking for the sell. If you get a sell from the top going down, that is even much better. Natural gas. It went up, it's even going higher than we expected. So if you bought it for that one, I think there was a buy setup somewhere here for this move up. It went more than expected. So the question is, are we totally going up? Are we going back to retest this stop? So the question is whether we're going back to retest this stop. This is relatively sharp. Not relatively, it's very sharp. This one is just one sharp move down. If it makes a flat and come here, then you can expect this to go back up like that. None of them are corrective. I don't think this one is just going to drop. If you want to buy this here now, you got to make sure you got a really good flat, not just a flag, right? Because it could still be an expanding flat. As of now, it's a running flat still. So if this is not dropping, you need a really good one here to buy. This could have, you probably could have bought this for one more impulse up. Mainly just for one more impulse like this, which already happened. So wait for more flags to buy or look for one more drop. I think one more drop is possible for a running or an expanding flat to the downside. US oil, we don't have any sell setups. We don't have any buy setups. US oil, the buy would have been a good idea. I think the buy here would have been a good idea. Right? You came here, you go there, you come back, look, expect it to come back here and expect it to look more like this. So any buy setup will take more buy setups here. Actually, you had a few good buy setups last week. I wasn't here, but I don't know how many trades you got. This was a perfect one. I think this running flat would have been an ideal one. There's a small flag here this morning. I'm not sure whether that's a trade, but wait for another flag here and go with that trade. That'd be perfect. US 30. So it came a little lower, just a flat. Look for sell setups. We're making a big flat there. Instead of going back up, we're just making a big flat. So that's more downside, which means it wouldn't be the equivalent of this. Right? This is sharp. We would eventually take this off. We might eventually look at this as the running flat. And this could be total downside starting. Right, so take this off. That's the top, this is a deep pullback, but this is consolidating here. And if it's consolidating there, then it's going to drop. So let's clean up the charts a little, too much things. You could just put this one. I think it's up to here. Take out all of that. This was a flag. This was a flag. Wait for a flag here. You can make an argument that you have this flag here once this is the top. Go to the 15. Yep, you can go with this one. Put an intruder here. Keep a stop just above this stop here. If it goes higher into that top, take out the trade because it's flat. So as it stands right now, that's a sell for this one, right? If it's coming to break this low and then drop, that's a trade. If it comes and it breaks this low, start to go back up, you can take a break even for that trade. If it goes higher, take it off because that becomes a flat of its own. Right? So is it gonna drop now? I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. I can totally drop now. We have this as an expanding flat. I think that is what when we had it here, right, to go up, that was what we were thinking, running or expanding. It came here, it go up, so you've got this one up and you've got this one up. You do have a flat here, just like you had a flat here. This can either come back here and go again, or just come here and maybe even drop to the bottom because you've got a complete flat pattern there now. So that's a good sell. It's an aggressive sell, but it's a good sell. You don't want it to go higher. If it goes higher, take it off. S&P 500. Don't trade this because this one is already, that might give you an indication where the US 30 will go because it's already the top. If it comes here, it's just making a flat for upside. At least one more up. I think this was a buy in this piece. So this, we're in the 15, let's see in the 1 hour what it would look like. Now in the 1 hour, it probably would close it because you have 1 hour up, it dropped, it came back all the way to here, went up back, it shouldn't come back after that. If it come back, you're out of the trade. Right? So that turned out to be 1, 2, 3 downside. Actually, no, we didn't break the low. So we either have to consider this, or if this one we go with, and this is making a flat here, which means you're going to get 1, 2, 3 come back here for this, and then go up again. Right? Either you go with an expanding flat in here and that starts coming. Now let's see in the 4 hours what it look like. Yeah, it should go up, but it's not going up. Right? If we're thinking this is making some kind of a flat there, I don't like that idea because this is really big. I think it's more downside. Right now, this is looking more downside here. Consolidation for downside. See if you get a sell from the top. If you get a sell from the top, there's no buy setup at the moment. Okay? But you don't want to sell it now. You definitely don't want to sell that now. Because this sell is already at that top. So even if it comes here, it's going to go higher. Let it finish what it's doing and then look for the sell. This one also dropped. You can make an argument for this as an expanding flat. We came pretty low. And we're in this move now. Now that we broke the top, we're in this move. Where is that taking us? Let's go to the daily. Okay, just a correction like this in a big move that is done. Correcting that upwards. And that correction makes sense, especially with a deep pullback in this. So you want this to come here and then go back up or drop through the bottom. And since you're at the top, you want to see if you have a sell setup. So let's go into 15. I don't think we have a sell setup as yet. This was a buy that just broke the top, so it can go some more. This was a buy. Would have been a break even. I think we will either go with this as a buy. This one is sharp. We don't really have anything for that. Unless you want to put it with this one here. All right, that makes sense because you have a correction in here too. So this goes higher. It either comes back like this and then go. We'll put these two together. Or it drops through the bottom. If you're buying this now, you need another flat. You need another flat like this. This was a buy. If you bought this morning, you get that to positive. But since we're at the top of this structure, see they crawl up, and then drop. Look for sell setups. As they look for sell setups. RTY, okay. It's coming down back. You can get a sell like this. There's a sell setup forming here. It's not ready. Okay, this has to come here and go back up, complete this flat. And then we look for the sell. So you're looking for a sell setup, but if you take the first one, you got to be cautious because of the sharp pullback. We did break this top, so yes, the sell is okay. I think we broke that top. No, we didn't. So we could still be in consolidation, but it's still a good trade, even if this is coming back to retest this low. Okay, this one is slowly up. Do we have a buy setup? You can make an argument for having a buy setup. All of this is correction. It's going up. You can pull it like this. I'm not sure if you want to put all of this as one. You can go with this, for example. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that makes sense. You can go with this as a 1, 2, 3, and you have a 1, 2, 3. So look for a buy setup. Let it pull back and then look for a buy setup. Go back to the 1 hour. You need to pull back. You need to pull back like this before you buy. So pull back, look for buy setup. DAX came back, but not as a flat, as a running flat. You wanted this move down. You got it here. Put it like this and put it like this. This would have been a perfect buy because you're looking for a move up like that, and I think we got it. If you put it from here, well, we're pretty much there already. So from this point, where does it go? Well, it could be any direction, right? If you take this as the correction, it could go back and retest the top. What if it's making a correction here to drop one more and then go? So go back here and you at the top there, we treat it for both sides. We assume that it's going to drop, right? You make the assumption that this is going to come back for either a sharp move like that or totally drop. So if you pull this all the way here, assume that you're in some kind of a channel here. Look for a sell setup here. Let it come back and make a flag. Look for that sell setup and see if it breaks out. If it comes here, start to go back up, you worst case, you're going to get break even. So look for sell setups. The buy is off. The buy is gone already. This one should be the same, mostly for a flat. Mostly for this flat. Come back here and then go back up. We're still in the upside, right? So one drop you can sell. You can just have to be cautious how you sell it, where you sell it, and keep a stop above this stop. Or let it come here and then look for the buy. So this could be both ways. If you don't get it sell properly, let it drop and then look for the buy. Nifty? Nifty didn't drop enough. You definitely want to sell. That's a big correction. Look for a sell setup. You can try to get it from the top every time. Try to get it from this top dropping. Tesla? Still consolidating. It hasn't broke out anywhere. Let it consolidate some more, then go for the trade. If it consolidates too much, then it drops again, right? If they consolidate deep into this, right? If this comes back here pretty deep and then go back up, we get one more drop. But I think this stays here. This could be a takeoff. So let it pull back to this range and then look for the buy. Let it pull back to the bottom of that correction there. Let it pull back to just about here and then look for the, if it breaks out, you take the buy on the breakout with a flag. Breakout, make a flag, take the trade. This is some more downside. I think this here is giving some more downside. Let it consolidate there and then drop. We'll see if we get a buy set up here. Right, it's pulling back, go for the buy. It's moving back up, but more very, very slow, more like a consolidation. Bitcoin. Okay, it's dropping some more. Let's see. Well, not dropping as yet. This could be just a correction here for upside. Because we broke these lows already. They're trying to go back to the top. And this is a really sharp move, right? This move here is really sharp. We're looking for buy setups in this one, in this range. That's a really sharp move. You could make an argument for this as a running flat. I think you could go with this as a running flat here. If any one of you saw this and you took this trade here or you took a trade on the top here, that's perfect. That's an ideal trade. I think you can look at this as a flat. Look for a flag here to buy. Wait for it to make a flag here and then go for that trade. I take this as the thing. This could have been a short-term sell, but look for this trade up mostly. So there's more upside in this. This would be the low, and it can retest the top. Remember, the bigger structure, this can retest the top. It definitely will retest the top. The way you're looking at it, right? The way you look at this. Is that this can just break out and then reverse. Can we hit 85? I think they can hit 85. They can even go a little more. But then after that, it will probably come back down, right? It's not going to take off like a rocket. Well, it can make a sudden big spike, but then it's going to come back down. You'll see the divergence here, right? Starting to see that. But retesting this top is a possibility, especially with this corrective structure in play. Now, how high will it go? Well, anybody's guess, right? How high it can go, but it's going to come back down fast. Right? It's not going to go, it could like Like this one actually came and retest the top, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if they actually do something like that and then start dropping it back. Wouldn't be nice to see everybody buy at the top there and then just drop it here? Which means if you haven't sold all that you had and there's still willing buyers, then you just let it go up and sell some more. So this is a really good chance to buy, but get the hell out of it before it starts coming back down, right? ETH, same here. I think this is a flat here now for one more up. ETH has one more up. Let's see in the bigger picture. I think they all had one more up. We're expecting this to go back up one more. Like, think of this as 1, 2, 3. And what was the daily structure? Yeah, the daily structures come here one more and then go. Yeah, this is very much a consolidation, right? The drop happened like this. They kind of drop really far before they make a consolidation and then go. The consolidation is this. See, this one came back to the top. So unless it goes really sharp like this, make this the flat and then come back here and then go. Right? This is the first move down. This is the pullback. It will need to just retest the stop and then come back here really fast. So yeah, upside here is possible to go with it. Look for a buy setup. I think this is pretty much if you put an entry above the top for the buy, is a good idea. If you don't get any flag in here, just put an entry above the top. You could get a really big spike. XRP should be the same thing. You're looking for one more up. And I think this is kind of telling us that one more up is possible. So this was the trade that we were expecting. This would have been the perfect buy. I think there was a buy at the bottom here. And we're coming to break out of these. Where is the big picture? Yep, the big picture is this thing could go and break this stop. Maybe even break this stop. So it all depends on how we look at this piece in the middle here. If we look at this as still correction, right, then you can just get a spike that would do this and come back here. Right, then all of this could still be like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right, that's possible. So we have to work with both possibilities because remember, this one never actually broke the top. Right, we're looking at it as a 1, 2, 3 for a contracting flat. But what if it is not? What if it's still in here? Right, what if this is still doing this? Right, if we look at it like this. And this is a 1, 2, 3. And this here is 1, 2, 3 up. This is a 1, 2, 3 up. Come here and then go. We don't know that that possibility is not what it's doing, right? If it's doing that, then it's only going to come about here and then go. But if not, then we're doing this to the upside. And both of those are not really excellent patterns, right? So let's see what it's doing. This is looking one more up, and then we'll see what happens from that point. Go back to the 1 hour. And expect one more up to break this stop and probably retest these stops. LTC. This is a buy. I think this one broke the low. It's going from the low point. That was a buy. This, you could get a buy here. You could have closed that and re-enter, but if you didn't, then this is a buy setup forming here. The same thing would be in most of them. I think most of them are upside. So, yep, this looks upside. Well, you could look at this two ways. Either you look at this as an expanding flat, which I think makes more sense because of that consolidation, or you look at this as a kind of a running flat here like this. Either way, it's a buy. There's a buy setup here. Look, wait for a flag here. Take this flag to the upside. The closest you can do is put an entry here if you don't get a flag. Can we put this as the running flat here? That's a possibility too. Can make an argument for this being the running flat. Or you can make an argument for 1, 2, 3. Whichever. It wouldn't make a big difference. You're still looking for a buy setup. This looks downside. This looks like it can consolidate for downside, although we were expecting this to go up one more. I don't necessarily think it's going to go up. I think if anything, you're doing this and drop one more. Because the bigger picture of this is downside. We were expecting this to go down somewhere. Right? Expecting this to come back here. So this could just be a big flat here to drop more. There is at least one more upside, but not necessarily a very big trade. So I'll be very careful with this. Dash. Okay, Dash does have some more upside here. See that? So this is more upside. I think we did tag some low there. That's in the bigger picture where we're going from here. Yeah, it broke this low, so at least come back to this stuff. And then we'll see what happens on there. It did break the low, though. It broke the all-time low twice. So it could be total upside. Right? That is also a possibility. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to stop on the cryptos here because I'm not sure what cryptos you guys trade now. We haven't done this for a very long time. We need to upgrade all the cryptos you guys are trading and then come back to see what, which ones we're going to trade and how we're going to do that. I think we can do that sometime this week. Put out all the cryptos and then, pick the top 10 that you guys chose. You can put it out in our group. We did that like a poll. Everybody chose and we take the top 10 and put it there. Those of you still trade cryptos. So, okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'll come back here for the New York session and we would be able to look at it in the New York session. All right. Thank you.